Hey guys, so today I have another book review for you. It's the second book in the Eve series. It's called Once, and it's by Anna Carey. I don't have this book because my sister is borrowing it right now. Sorry if it's a little flimsy. Here's the book cover. It's kind of like the first book, just a little bit different. Okay, so this book leaves off like kind of where the last book left off. Eve is settling in Califia, and there's not a lot that goes on. I mean, she kind of just, walks around and talks with her friends and kind of finds out more about Califia and, is missing Caleb and stuff like that. And then Arden shows up, and so she has Arden there. And then she finds out that Caleb, she heard something about Caleb being, near. And so they kind of hatch a plan to escape from Califia, because the people that are in charge of Califia, like, they know that she is wanted by the government and that the soldiers are out to get her, and so they think that maybe they can bargain, like, Eve for, like, the city of Sand leaving their colony alone, and so they want to, like, keep her there, but they don't really say it. So Arden and Eve kind of plan their escape, and they escape, and only to find out that it's a trap. Caleb wasn't actually there. It's a bunch of soldiers there waiting for her at the spot where Caleb was supposed to be. And they take Arden back to the graduate school, which is really, really sad. And they take Eve to the city of Sand. This happens like right in the beginning of the book. They actually tell you about that in like the dust jacket part. So I wasn't spoiling anything for you guys that are wondering. I forgot to say this in the beginning of this review. I'm going to say it now, but I actually got this book. I actually won this book from Goodreads.com. I talked to you guys about this in my Fallen in Love video that I made. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. I'll link it down below. But I talk all about Goodreads. But on Goodreads.com, they have giveaways that authors do for like their new releases that they're, giving, like that are coming out. And they have like daily, like tons and tons of books on there. And I actually won one of these books. I never win anything, and I was really excited that I won this book. I had never heard of this series before, and this is the second book in the series that I won, and so I had to go out and buy the first one before I could review this one. And so I read the first one and absolutely fell in love with it, so I was really excited that I got to get this book. And the author signed it for me too, so I was really excited about that as well. So yeah, okay, back on to the review of this book. So Eve is in the city of Sand, and there's this huge plot twist that happens that I will tell you guys about later in the video if you guys want to keep watching for the spoilers. But I'm not going to tell you guys right now. And also, Caleb shows up in the city of Sand while she's there, and the soldiers are after him because Eve actually killed 2 soldiers while she was trying to get away from the people that were trying to capture her. So she killed in the first book she killed 2 soldiers. So yeah, in the first book she killed 2 soldiers, and so in the first book they think that, or in this book, I'm totally, my mind is just like going a mile a minute right now. In this book, the soldiers are trying to capture Caleb because they say that he's the one that killed the soldiers, and so they want him dead, and so they're trying to capture him, but he's in the city of Sand right now, and Eve wants to run away with him, and so that's kind of her plan. But there's a huge plot twist that if you keep watching I'll tell you about, so yeah, keep watching. Okay, so spoiler alert, the king is Eve's father. Did not see that one coming. That's why they're after her, because as soon as he found out that he had a daughter, he didn't know that he had a daughter when when he left his mother, because his mother, or Eve's mother, was actually the king's like mistress. Like, he had an affair before all the plague happened and everything, like the virus happened. He had another family, so the mom didn't really tell the king about Eve, and so he was looking through like the graduate photos, and he noticed this girl who looked like exactly like him, and found out that it's actually his daughter. And so that's why the soldiers were after her, but they definitely weren't using gentle force. They were trying to kill her along the way and doing anything possible to get her there. So yeah, she's the king's daughter. I could not believe it. Like, some people say that they saw it coming, but I don't know. It was a really, really good plot twist. And so she's technically called like the princess there or something like that. I don't know. Really weird. But, so they can't have like Eve be the one that killed the soldiers, but somebody has to pay, because even if you kill the soldiers out of self-defense, it's automatic like death sentence. And so the king says that somebody has to pay for, you know, the deaths of these soldiers. So they blame it on Caleb, and they say that Caleb is the one that like kidnapped her from the school, and they just like brainwash all these citizens. Yeah, I'm gonna read from my computer because I wrote a review on Goodreads. You guys can check out the whole thing on my Goodreads.com page that I will link below. But I have a lot to say, and my mind's just like, I wouldn't be able to remember it all. So this is I'm gonna be reading from my computer right now. Okay, let me see here. Okay, I said I had a hard time with my thoughts about the king and the city and the way he runs things. And he knows all about the horrible things that happens to the orphans, and he knows the true story behind Eve's arrival. However, he still lets the bad stuff happen. And I understand what he's trying to do. He's still trying to make the best out of a bad situation. I mean, most of the world's population was destroyed with the plague. So I understand that he was really, really desperate with like the way he, you know, making the orphans breed. You know, I understand it, and the way he explains it in the book just makes me understand what he went through. They needed a leader, and he stepped up to the plate, and I get where he's coming from, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think, yeah, obviously I don't agree with it, but I see where he's coming from. But I was really hoping that he was going to realize, like when Eve was trying to tell him what is going on and like negotiate with him and like really plead with him and telling him like, I've seen what you're doing to these people and it's just wrong, like she is his daughter, you know. And I was really hoping that he was going to realize like what he was doing was wrong by the end of the book, but by the end of the book he still was a lying piece of whatever. And I don't know, it just made me like really upset with this guy. Like I just couldn't believe that it's like his brain just like didn't work, you know. I was like wanted to scream at him and like punch this guy in the face. Like I understood where he was coming from, and it made sense to me why he was doing these things, and the way he explained it, like it totally makes sense, you know. He had to do something. The population was going to just disappear if he didn't do something, you know. But it's just, I don't know, like what I said in here is like this guy was alive before the plague happened, and he knew how things worked in the world. You know, he had children and a wife, and I don't see how any decent man would be able to treat people this way, and treat his daughter this way. He must not have been a decent man. And I still have mixed feelings about the whole thing. Like, I don't understand how he could have been any type of a decent person before the plague happened, because no decent person would be doing this. Like, he was alive. Like, it was like the times that are happening right now. Like, if we just all of a sudden had like this big plague or virus that took over, like killed most of the population, and then just one random person decided to organize everybody together. That's what this guy is, you know. But he had a family and children and a wife. Like, how can he treat people like this? And Eve was one of those people, but because she's his daughter, like all of a sudden, like he had to get her out of there. Obviously, because it's a bad thing, you know. But it's just, he made me so frustrated. I couldn't hate him. I couldn't like hate him though, just because he was doing so much good for the city. That, like, he rebuilt this humongous city. By the way, it takes place in Vegas, is where they rebuilt the city of sand. And, like, he built this humongous city and just organized, like, he really rallied, you know, the people back up, but a lot of people still don't want to live there just because they think he is kind of a tyrant, but he doesn't really seem like a tyrant, just in some aspects of the way he runs things. The other thing that kind of got me a little upset was this whole entire time, Caleb and the other people, they're called like the Wilds, I think. No, I forget what they're called, but we're just gonna call them the rebellion, the rebels. They're trying to organize a rebellion against the king. Like, there's this huge, like, whole society set up that's, you know, planning a rebellion on the king and the authority figures. And my thoughts on that, like, I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, just because I don't know, I just don't agree with some of the things that they're planning. And what I said on here is, like I said, the king has brought peace and restored some type of humanity and hope back in the American people, at least most of them. And I said, I know much of what the king is doing is wrong, but he still has done so much good. And the rebels seem to only want everything that has been built to come crashing right back down. And I don't understand how that makes any sense. Like, he's doing a lot of bad things with, like, the orphans, and the guys were kind of in, like, a not concentration camp, but they were kind of in, like, work camps. That's where the boy orphans went. I forgot to say that, but they just want revenge, basically. They're not looking out for the big picture. They just want him to come crashing down. They don't realize what good the king has done in the city. And so I don't know. I have so many much mixed feelings about the king and about the rebellion. Like, I'm not totally against the king, and I'm not totally for the rebellion against the king. The other thing that kind of confused me was, God, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Okay, so supposedly Caleb is dead. I don't really know what happened. He was supposedly killed in, like, the tunnels when one of the soldiers, you know, killed him or whatever. But, like, he was shot and then Eve was just, like, dragged back. So I don't really know if he's dead. They didn't really confirm if he's dead. Moss, like, kind of the leader of the rebels, he had infiltrated the king. So he's, like, one of the higher-ups with, like, the king. And so he infiltrated the king. And, when he was talking to Eve at the end of the book, he kind of made it seem that Caleb was dead. The way he was talking about it, he said that Caleb was dead, but, like, I don't know if I believe that, you know. And their plan now is to have Eve kill her father, kill the king, and have her become queen. I'm guessing that would be what would happen, have her become queen. You know, that would seem like the logical thing to have happen. But his death was never really confirmed, and it doesn't really make much sense to me that he would be dead, you know, just because, like, why would Caleb be dead? Like, they have this huge love story, and there's still a third book, so it just doesn't make much sense to me that he's dead. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the book. I love this book so much. It's just so hard. Like, it was really hard for me to read it. Like, it wasn't hard for me to get through the book, but, like, my emotions and my thoughts on all of this is just, like, I don't know where I stand on a lot of these things. You think it should be, like, clear-cut, like, the king is evil and the rebellion needs to happen, but it's not so clear-cut like that. And it's hard to be on one side or the other. I'm kind of in between. Like I said, I don't totally agree with the king, and I don't totally agree with the rebellion, so, and I agree with both, you know, in certain aspects of what's going on. But yeah, I'm really excited for the third book to come out. It doesn't come out for a really long time. This one just came out, like, I just received it like a month or so ago. I don't want to wait till the next one comes out. I'm just like, I really, really want it to come out, just like because I want to see how it ends. Yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, go check out Goodreads.com. I won this book from Goodreads.com from, like, the actual author, so that was really, really cool. I wouldn't have never known about this series if I didn't win it, and it was an awesome, awesome series so far. So yeah, go check out that website. I'm not sponsored by it. I just really, really love the book. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.